I'm so happy to see all of you here. Like Barbara said, it really feels like we're all a part of a family. Whether I know you from this lifetime already, or we've probably known each other from another lifetime. There's no coincidence that we're here all today gathered to talk about your soul's purpose, your soul's journey, and your soul's purpose. You were drawn to this. I was guided to give this talk. Thank you. I didn't know I was going to have a mic. I just kept telling myself I need to project all the way to the back of the room. Before I go into what I prepared today, what Spirit said to me last night was, remember to take care of yourself. So as Barbara introduced me, I had a previous life in my first almost 30 years where I didn't take care of myself. And so I invite you to really allow yourself the experience, allow yourself to journey with me in the next 45 minutes or so. And I invite you to also look at things from a perspective of, what if I was brave? This is from a song a friend that introduced me to. And what if you can't get it wrong? Wouldn't that have been amazing to know that this is Earth School and we've come to play? So you were drawn to this talk because I prompted, what did you come to do this lifetime? What did you come to do that's uniquely you as a soul in your body? And have you heard the calling to come out from hiding and to shine? And what would be some of your next steps in terms of your evolvement, of your soul's journey and your soul's purpose? So in our short time together, we'll probably scratch the surface of some of these answers, or you may have epiphany and dive deep into next steps. So let's explore together. One of my friends said, and I like her saying, she says, answers like this, they may be simple, but they may or may not be easy. So I'm going to take a few minutes to share with you just my journey and how I've gotten here. In 1999, I was at a major crossroads in my life. Maybe some of you are at major crossroads yourself. And at that time, I had a picture-perfect exterior. I had graduated from Berkeley. I had started working about 7-8 years for a nonprofit in Oakland. And I was overseeing a team of 4. And so on the exterior, it was all great. I was helping my parents with their business. I was helping a sibling raise her kids. And I was in a relationship again on the outside. Looked great. Looked like I had everything. But on the inside, I was empty. On the inside, I felt that I was not aligned somehow, and I was not following my path or my soul's path. Yet I, at that time, didn't have that vocabulary. I didn't know. I just knew deep down inside that a lot of things were not right. So back to 1999, it was a day in the first week of November, and that's my birthday month. And what happened was I was leaving a Safeway in the hills of Oakland, I was still working at that nonprofit, and I had just purchased 250, 300 gift cards to give to our staff for the holidays. And I should have been feeling great, right? We're acknowledging the people that's serving the community. But I remember walking into the store and noticing how empty it was. And I was served because we had already purchased the gift cards. Then after I left, I remember feeling an energy, an uneasiness, a pit in my stomach that something is not right and I cannot go on like this. So I went into my car, sat in the vinyl black bucket seat, and I remember for the first time, and I was not raised religious, for the first time out loud, I said, God, if this is all there is, I'm done. And I really meant it. I was done. And then I said, if there's more to this life, and if there's more to experience, show me now. Show me now. And I remember asking for like immediate action. And unbeknownst to me and in my dismay, God answered. In my prelude in 1999, all of a sudden on my radio dial, never listened to the AM stations, on 1470, a woman was talking about exactly what I was going through. I was giving, but not open to receiving. I was depleted and didn't know how to recharge, how to find things that invigorate me and make me thrive. I wasn't raised in a culture or family that really looked at individual happiness and individual appreciation, self-love and self-appreciation. And so when this woman started to talk about that you can take care of yourself and you can put yourself in this equation, then I was excited. I was jumping up and down. My spirit was jumping up and down for joy. And I found myself calling a radio station, which I've never done before. And I was just so excited because someone heard me and God answered my prayer. So that's how I found meditation. And that's how I found intuition. And you were drawn to this talk and this fair because you also have questions around this. And maybe you're looking to begin this journey, or maybe you're looking to take a deeper dive into what you've already started practicing. And so fast forward about 4.5 years, I left this nonprofit and moved to a different, larger nonprofit to expand my skills, to learn more in the career world. And I was developing my intuition, my clairvoyance, and my soul's journey. And one day I got a call from the gentleman who replaced me at the previous job. And he gave me very sad news. One of the staff that worked for me at that nonprofit had passed away suddenly, unexpectedly. And she had just given birth a month or two before that. And so I sat with that and I allowed myself to feel and process. And in the days to come, there were emails, there were phone calls. Her memorial had 500 plus people in a hall in Livermore. And I hope that she knew how much she was loved. And a day or two after that, she came to me in a dream, and she was so distraught. She was crying and crying and crying. And she said, Cindy, you have to help me. I said, what's going on? And she said, one of my dear friends, thank you so much. One of my dear friends died. And she said, it was so unexpected. And in this dream, where I wasn't processing in my mental thoughts, I knew intuitively, as a soul and a spirit, she was projecting what had happened in her life onto someone dear and close to her. And what I shared with her was that, Kathleen, we don't know in the physical why certain things happen in a certain way. But when they happen, they're meant to happen. And we only can discover and understand the greater purpose and the greater message and reasons when we return back to spirit. And so the next day, I went to one of my directors and I shared with her what happened in my dream. And she said to me, she said, maybe you're meant to help souls transition from this plane, this physical plane, back to spirit. And I was still distraught about her passing, but I started to open up. And my director said, there's a reason why she came to look for you and to talk to you. And so in the following days, she continued to find me in my dreams. And we continued to process her grief of her thinking that she's lost a friend, and eventually coming full circle for her to understand that she had left the physical, and that her grief processing leaving her infant as a mother and as a wife, the guilt and the judgment. And she was ready to release all of that and go full back to spirit and continue her journey. It wasn't until a few months that same year in 2005, a friend who was living with me said, if you don't know this, you really helped this soul evolve. And I took my head and kind of looked at her, a little puzzled. And she said, you've helped her. She's now already reincarnated. She's moved on to her next life. And so I wasn't sure if I was more grateful or she was more grateful. It was just really a miracle that happened. And so when we get these opportunities, it's a part of our soul's purpose. It's part of our soul's journey because we have a calling. And so do we step into the calling or do we step out of it? Do we follow what you may have fears about? There's a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways. If you haven't seen it, it's a great book. But when we do step away from the opportunity, what happens? We start to say, maybe not now, maybe later, maybe not this, maybe something else. And so I share another story with you. A few days ago, I was doing my regular walk around the neighborhood in San Ramon. And we lived in pretty much in a canyon. So there are eagles and owls and crows, squirrels, bunnies. It's an amazing place. Very grateful to be there for almost 4 years. What happened was I was passing this townhouse and I heard a little girl singing and playing, and she was talking to someone through the screen door. And she continued to play, and I tried to make eye contact with her. She was a few steps up in the townhouse, and I couldn't. And I realized she was just so much in her world of play. She was 3.5, 4, if that. And so I kept walking, and another 30, 40 feet, I kind of get this sense of stopping because I listen to spirit and try to be in the moment. And so when I had stopped, I was right next to a tree. And so I just placed my hand on the tree, said hello to it. Because in many ways, we're part of a tree family. We're nature, they're nature. And so I had closed my eyes, some people walked past, and then I start to realize I could still hear the little girl singing and twirling and playing. And so then I started to hear an adult, a female adult voice, and I saw that the mom was walking the little girl down the stairs and into their car. And so I started to walk towards them, and the mom put the little girl into the car seat in the back, and she proceeded to walk to the driver's seat. And she saw me coming, and so she smiled, and I said to her, I said, your little girl is in so much joy and so much fun. Her playing and singing was just so much radiating. And she was a little surprised by what I said. And she smiled and she thanked me. And then she said to her daughter who was in the back seat, she's like, did you hear that? You know, can you thank the lady? And so we shared a little bit more pleasantry, and then I started to continue my walk. And as she passed, what I noticed was that she made sure that she was still thanking me for the communication, the short exchange we had. And I wasn't sure if I was more touched or she was more touched. And this is what soul-to-soul communication is about. It may be a very simple exchange. It may be a very ordinary, everyday exchange. But when we stop to talk to someone and we stop to recognize where they're emanating from, you're validating another soul and you're validating yourself as well. And I'm going to share a saying from one of my dear advanced intuitive teacher, Michael Tamura. He says, the one thing that lets you see clearly is light. The light that you are, the light of awareness. So each of us have our own inner flame. And so are you shining that inner light and your inner flame? Or are you hesitating to do so? And the jewel, I wouldn't say the prize, the evolvement is in searching for what stops you from taking that step forward. And so I'm going to take all of you through a short meditation. I'm going to do a time check real quick. Make sure we have enough time. Okay. And so I invite you, if you have your purse or your phone, or go ahead and kind of let those be in the seat next to you. Go ahead and just be comfortable. And I invite you to start to close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. Or you can bring your gaze down towards the floor. And give yourself 3 nice deep breaths. And this is your way of telling your body that you're turning within. And just allow yourself to breathe the gift of your breath. A teacher said, do we appreciate the breathing that we give to the body? And so I invite you to imagine that you're sitting with your feet flat on the floor. You're sitting on a tree trunk. And the tree trunk is well rooted into Mother Earth, Mother Gaia. And the roots are strong. The roots are healthy. The roots are connected. And I invite you to just be right here, right now. And this is a gift of being in the present moment. And it's okay if your mind is wandering. It's okay if thoughts are coming. Go ahead and just let them pass through. And I invite you to just be right in the center of your head, in your third eye. And I invite you 3 feet in front of you to create a soap bubble. We're going to play a little bit. A soap bubble that you could blow from a wand. Or you can make a soap bubble with suds in your hand. And I invite you to imagine that you're using your right pointer finger and you're popping that soap bubble. And then I invite you to create a second soap bubble in front of you, about 3 feet in front of you. And go ahead and pop that bubble as well. And let's create a third one. A third one, I invite you in this soap bubble to bring into the space of when you first experienced your own soul's vibration and your own soul's light. You may see this as a color. You may see this as a symbol. You may see this in a picture form. And just validate yourself of your inner light and your inner soul. And I'm going to have you move this soap bubble to one side of your screen. And then I invite you to create another soap bubble next to it. And with this soap bubble, I invite you to bring into this space what we brought up earlier when you were shining and you were in your soul light and you were in your joy when someone said that that was not okay. What vibration do you see here? What symbol? What geometrical shape? And with this, just allow yourself to be. Allow yourself, remember to breathe. And notice if there's anything shifting in your body, any tingling, any sensation. And in today's gathering, as you all have read, 9 archangels and masters have come to support this transformation and information. And so one of the masters or one of the archangels will be coming either behind you or next to you to give you a healing and allow you and guide you to release the time when you had turned your light down. And I invite you to breathe and to be open to this opportunity. It might be Archangel Michael. It might be Goddess Kuan Yin. It may be Saint Germain. You resonate with guides and masters, and they come to you because they're aligned with you. And so you start to see the second bubble and just notice what's happening and how that may or may not be affecting the first bubble. And just allow any imagery, allow any experiences to shift and change. And I'll give you a moment to even ask the master or the archangel a question. And then we'll start to wrap up this healing. We are never alone. We are always supported by spirits and guides, masters, angels. When we believe and when we open up to spirit, you'll start to see them dance and twirl and play. And I invite you to start to thank your master, and I invite them to take a step back from your space. And they're still in this room. And so I invite you to, above your head, 3 feet above your head, start to create a big golden ball of light like the sun. And above your head, I invite you, when you're ready, to crack that golden sun and allow it to fill in your space. This golden sun is life force energy. This golden sun is what nourishes us as a spirit, a soul, and a body. And just allow that sun ray to fill in all of your chakras, all of your organ systems, fill in every single cell in your body, your bone, your veins. And when this warm golden vibration has filled you up all the way into your tippy toes, I invite you to start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, start to rotate your shoulders, and I invite you to start to stretch and come out of that trance space, come out of that meditation. And I also invite you, if you're able, to bend down over your knees and totally come out of the meditation. In our last few minutes together, I really want to thank all of you. I wish we had more time, and I invite you to come by my booth or come talk with me as we transition from one speaker to another. We really are supported every moment of every day. And we journeyed here for a reason, for a purpose. And I'm very thankful that you came today to really embark in this discussion with me and within yourself about where your soul's journey and your soul's purpose is taking you. So you should have received my business card as well as my offerings for today, my first fair. with SoulSearch. And I also do coaching, spiritual development coaching, as well as have a monthly group that we jump on Zoom and talk about topics like what we talked about today. And there's also a 6-month intensive if you're wanting to develop more of your intuitive and clairvoyant abilities. So with deep appreciation, thank you so much for sharing this time with me.